This is the Digital Savage Experience Podcast, hosted by Prokopchuk, bringing you all things digital marketing, tech, business, and motivation. What's stopping you from becoming relentless in all aspects of life? Are you ready to become a digital savage? Let's get into today's episode.
Hey everyone, this is Prokopchuk, and this is the Digital Savage Experience Podcast. Today I have with me Jill Valdez. She's the founder and CEO of LINK Consulting, and her mission is to get the best out of people. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on the show. My
pleasure. So tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are today?
Well, it's not where I ever expected that I would be. I was an executive for a nonprofit corporation. I figured that was going to be what I did for all of my life. And in 2016, the corporation was going through some really significant financial struggles. And so I resigned my position and kind of had to figure out what I was going to do next and what was the next step for me. Bounced around in a few different opportunities, loved them, and each one was a progression to where I wanted to be. And then I was working for a communications company, and the president of the company came to me and said, Jill, you need to start your own agency. You need to do what you do for more than just one company at a time. And he actually said to me, I'm being super selfish in keeping you. So go start your own agency. I'm going to be your first client. And that's what I did. And that was a little over a year ago. And I've been growing and going ever since.
That's awesome. And is that something you've been doing for a while prior to kind of what you've explained, or have you started in kind of any other industry?
So as far as what I do for companies, it was exactly what I was doing in the nonprofit, and people motivation and team development and getting the best out of people for the goals and the vision of the company. And now I'm just doing it to help other companies as opposed to doing it as an employee.
That's great. So what motivates you to succeed?
Seeing other people succeed. My success is contingent on other people having wins in their life and getting over obstacles and getting to that next step in their life, and to see them grow and to see them have wins and to see them experience that transformation. That is my biggest motivator.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's kind of that legacy aspect, and it's always great when you have that component in your everyday, work life as well, if that's kind of intrinsic in what you do.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think it's important that people understand their impact in the world around them, that no matter what they do, they're leaving a legacy. They're leaving a footprint to the world around them and to the people behind them. And when you think of what you do from that perspective, it changes you. It changes your values. It changes your behavior to be more intentional about what you're doing and what you're saying and how you're impacting people.
Yep, it's a whole kind of a different mindset. Some people transition into it at one point or another. Some people don't, but I find it to be very rewarding.
Yes, yeah.
So what's one thing that you may have struggled with and had a weakness in the past that now you utilize as a strength today?
Connecting with people from a marketing perspective. When I first started my company, I thought, oh, well, I know I'm really good at what I do and I enjoy it. And so I just figured, okay, I'm going to have a couple of clients, and then from there, they're going to refer me to everybody they know, and I'm going to be turning people away. And that is definitely not the case. Not that they haven't referred me, but my agency is definitely not overflowing with clients to where I'm turning people away. So having to learn about marketing, and I struggled with that. That's probably been my biggest focus and concentration for the last 8 to 9 months, is how do I do that? How how do I market? And then how do I come across as not being cheesy, salesy? So I've worked with a couple of coaches, and they've helped me develop a mindset. They've helped me understand how to identify who actually is my ideal client and who I want to be working with. And then I read a book that really transformed how I market to being going back to what I hoped it would be, more referral based and more personal based, and having interaction with people, making their lives better. And from there, them saying, oh, you should talk to whoever. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think with any business, I think attaining clients through marketing or other channels is the hardest thing to do. I mean, it's easier to obviously retain a client than find a new one. So that's kind of the challenging part of any business. Yes.
Yeah, totally agree.
So what's one piece of advice you have for the audience, either personal or professional?
My one piece of advice that I have for your audience is to look at where you want to be in a year, and don't be afraid of what the obstacles are. Just soak and dream on what could be, like what you want things to be. And then have an expectation that as you take steps forward, whether they are gigantic steps or whether they're baby steps, as you take steps forward, the next step is going to become evident to you. And in that, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to do something wrong. People are really hung up on failure and seeing a mistake as a failure. Don't get hung up there. Recognize that you've just learned something that doesn't work. You've learned a new way of doing something, and having that open mind. But really just thinking about who is it that you want to be? Where do you want to be a year from now? And start moving towards that.
Yeah, I think being positive, and I think failing fast and just making steps, if you are making mistakes, moving forward and learning from them, because it makes you that much stronger and more equipped for kind of that next step up.
Yeah. I've seen so many companies that don't allow for their staff to make mistakes. And I've seen people that just get so hung up when something doesn't work out exactly as they think it should. And that's life. I mean, if I look back on my life, who I am today and even where I'm at today was nothing what I expected 5 years ago even. And I could look back and go, oh, it's been such a mistake, and there's been so many things that I failed at, as opposed to looking back and saying, those are things I learned. This is how I'm a better person. And this is what I want to do with that moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't really change the past or those mistakes, but you can learn from them and then use them to not, make the same thing over and over again and repeat history. And in terms of businesses, I don't think there's any way for a business to truly reach their potential without actually making mistakes or failing once in a while and then learning from it and then either pivoting or refining what they actually made a mistake or failed in.
Exactly. There's a quote, I've seen it on the internet, that talks about that if you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything of value.
Yep. I mean, that's true. That you're not trying anything new, because if you try something new, you're not going to get it every time. I mean, there's new things coming out in digital. I mean, I'm testing TikTok right now in terms of the content and the demographics on there. And, some posts do very well and some don't. And I'm learning and getting data from that. And if I was just to say, no, it's, just a bunch of young people on there, it won't benefit my clients or myself, I don't even want to focus on this, then it's, I'm never going to grow in that aspect or learn that platform.
Yeah, that's so good. We have to be willing to try new things and not just get stuck.
I agree. Well, I really appreciate you coming on today. Can you let the audience know how they can find you or anything else you may have going on?
Yeah, what I want to give for your audience today is, because I'm so passionate, free session call. It's no sales pressure or anything, but just a session with me to strategize on how to get to the next level. And the best way to get a hold of me and to get a part of that deal is to take out your phone, because everybody's got it either right there with them or they're listening to the podcast on their phone. Open up your text messaging app and text the word LINK, LINK, to 31996. That's text the word link to 31996. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. But people can also find me on LinkedIn. That is the platform that I hang out on the most.
Awesome. Thanks again for stopping by.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Hey everyone, this is Roman Prokopchuk from Roman Prokopchuk's Digital Savage Experience podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free, so that's always good. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
This podcast has been brought to you by Nova Zora Digital. Find out how Nova Zora Digital can help your company grow online. Learn more at novazoradigital.com. Until next time, all you digital savages.